And as you make your way down the path and further into the garden, I want you to look around and tell me if there is anything that you notice or anything that stands out to you in this place.
It looks familiar. It looks like the gardens at Versailles.
Beautiful. Tell me more about that.
Um, when I look out, I see the fountains and looks like the tiered lakes as they go down into the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
And then off to the right, there's looks like a walled garden. Um, it's very manicured.
Mm-hmm.
It's like beautiful green hedges. And the pathway, it looks like stone. And the grass is like growing up in between the stones. It's really pretty.
Mm. And do you notice if there are other people around, or is it just you?
So far, I just see me.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Let's focus in on what you look like. Take a look at your body and tell me what you're wearing.
I'm wearing a dress.
Mm-hmm. So you're female.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that dress.
It looks like a light silvery blue. It's really pretty. It's fluffy.
And how old do you feel in this body? Do you get a sense of what age you might be?
I feel young-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe maybe early 30s.
Very good. And what do your shoes look like? What are you wearing with this dress?
They look like little satin ballet shoes.
And as you scan up your body and you focus in on your head, tell me a little bit about what you look like. What does your hair look like?
It's really big. It's big hair. Um, it's white. There's a bunch of stuff in it, like ornaments. Oh my God, that looks so funny. Yeah, there's ornaments in it a lot. It's very eccentric looking.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like this is your hair or do you feel like it could be a wig?
It looks like a wig.
It looks like a wig. Okay, very good. And so as you scan down the body, do you notice if you're wearing any ornamentation on your hands or your neck? Anything that stands out?
It looks like I have a necklace on. It looks like a pearl necklace
Mm-hmm.
and a pearl bracelet on my left hand. And I'm holding a fan in the right hand.
Very good. So as you stand in front of Versailles in these beautifully manicured gardens, tell me what happens next.
I turn around and I'm looking at the facade of the building,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like maybe the sun is reflecting off of it, so it has this like golden glow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just standing there looking at it.
And as you tune into this scene, what do you imagine the reason that you are in this place is today?
I feel like I live here.
Hmm. Tell me more about that.
It feels like home.
Okay. Very good. And do you feel like there are a lot of people that live here with you?
I can't tell. I'm by myself right now.
Okay. Do you feel like you can enter the building?
Yes.
Okay. So just allow yourself to move forward, to move into Versailles, and let's see where it takes you.
I'm in a long corridor.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of windows, tall windows letting a lot of light in. There's plants, green plants every so many feet.
And tell me, do you feel like you have a room that is yours in this place?
I do. I feel like I have a space that it is mine.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about that space.
the the walls look like they have red flowered wallpaper. It's a lot of flowers everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a sitting room.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fireplace, the big fireplace with big bulky furniture. There's a looks like a desk, and it has an inkwell on it and like a little tray you can put your pen on. There's lots of books.
Very good. And how do you feel as you tune into your emotions and your thoughts? How do you feel about living there?
It feels like this space is the only place I can find some quiet time. It feels like I can take a deep breath when I come in here.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more about that. What is it that keeps you so busy?
It seems like my social calendar, I have to, I'm required to be in certain places at certain times.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to tune in and see if a name comes through, do you feel like you get a sense of what your name is in this scene?
Yes, that's so strange.
What comes through?
I was not expecting that. Henriette.
Say that again for me.
Henriette.
Oriette.
Henriette, like like Henriette, but I'm hearing it with a French accent.
Henriette. Okay.
Henriette.
Beautiful. Okay. So, Henriette, tell us a little bit about your social calendar. What is it that you are always off and doing?
I have to be seen. It feels like I have to be polite, make conversation with the others who live here. Feels very courtly, like I'm a part of the French court.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about that?
Part of me likes it, part of me doesn't. It feels exhausting after a while. You have to watch what you say. You can't be yourself.
Very good. So, as you look around the scene that you're in, is there anything else that you notice, anything else that stands out to you?
I'm in a fairly, I want to say large, but it's not large enough to where it's like a ballroom, but it feels where a room where we come and socialize. There are people sitting at tables playing games, others sitting around talking. Looks like they're drinking out of small glasses,
Mm-hmm.
like a liqueur. It just feels like this is your day. You have to spend your day socializing.
Mm-hmm. And who is it that, who do you feel these sort of rules come from? Do you feel like it's part of your family, or that you have to do this socializing, or just something that you do?
The the rules come from the king, but I
Mm,
don't know if I'm related or not.
okay. Very good. So tell me a little bit more about this event that you're experiencing. What is the purpose of it?
I just hear the word ceremony, like it's like this is a daily ceremony of it just feels like our daily routine, and
Mm-hmm.
it gets boring after a while because it's the same thing every day, and there's a lot of rules we have to follow.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Anything else about this scene that stands out to you?
As I'm looking around the room, I see the symbol of the sun.
Tell me more about
So
that.
it's the monarch's symbol.
Mm-hmm.
So this, it must be Louis the 14th.
Mm.
That is his symbol.
And so do you feel that you have a connection to Louis the 14th at all?
Maybe I hear distant cousin, so
Hmm.
maybe a cousin of some
Okay.
sort. because it feels like the room that I'm in is just outside the inner circle. So it feels like there are rows and rows of rooms, and the closer you get to the king, the more in favor you are.
Mm-hmm. And so, do you get a sense of where you fall in regards to being in favor with the king?
I feel neutral. I don't feel anything negative. So I don't feel like I am in a bad position. I just feel really bored.
Very good. So let's go ahead and close this scene. Just closing out and disconnecting your energy from this scene. And we're going to move forward a little bit in this life to another important scene, another important time, something that you need to see and be there now. And tell me the first things that you notice.
Sitting in front of a fireplace, speaking with an older woman.
How old do you feel there?
I feel a little older than I did in the previous scene,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still young-ish. I'm not as old as the woman I see sitting in front of me. She looks older,
Mm-hmm.
gray hair.
Tell me a little more about what the two of you are discussing.
It sounds like maybe a little bit of politics, a little bit of her telling me how my role changes as I age. It seems like she's sharing her wisdom with me so that I can have a good life.
Mm. And so, as you receive this information from her, how does it make you feel?
I feel indifferent. I feel like some of this I already know. I'm just being polite and listening.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of me feels a little afraid. And then
What causes you to feel worried or afraid?
if you make one wrong move, you're in danger. So you have to be very careful that you follow the rules.
Mm.
So it feels like you always have to look over your shoulder, say the right thing, be polite. It feels very fake, and that's why I just feel dissatisfied, bored. Um, that I don't, as beautiful as this world is, I don't want to be a part of it.
Mm. Who is it that enforces all these rules?
It's the king.
Mm.
You have to do whatever the king commands.
Does he have like an army or a group of people that sort of keep watch on?
It seems like everybody's watching everybody all the time.
Okay.
And he seems like there's a new edict he put in place, and that is what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it feels like I feel like I'm Protestant, and that needs to be, I'm not allowed to say that I'm really Protestant.
Mm.
So maybe that, I feel like that's what we're whispering about. Like we're talking about that I need to pretend I'm something that I'm not.
Mm-hmm. And how does that make you feel, having to hide that information?
I feel like I've grown up in this environment that I may be Protestant by birth, but I've lived in the court for so long that I don't identify with that belief system.
Mm. Okay,
I'm
very
just
good.
used to doing whatever the king says to do.
Mm-hmm. So tell me more about what you're discussing with this woman. What else comes through for you?
It feels like I'm married, but that I never see my husband. He's away. Um, I it's like I live my single life in the palace.
Mm-hmm. And as you tune into your husband, what do you imagine keeps him away for so long?
It feels like he finds excuses to stay away. He has to take care of our home. He has his own business affairs to attend to. So we live very separate lives.
Is it your choice to live there, or why don't you live in the home with him?
I'm not allowed to. I have to stay at the palace.
Okay. But he's allowed to be where he chooses.
Yes, it feels like he comes occasionally, just when it's to the point where he could maybe get in trouble for staying away for so long.
Mm.
He comes just for enough time to show his face, and then he leaves again.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about him?
I feel nothing.
Mm.
We are not, I don't feel connected to him at all.
Was it an arranged marriage or?
Yes,
Okay.
it doesn't feel like he's unkind. There's just no love there.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a business arrangement.
Very good. So you're speaking with this woman and you're discussing the rules that you need to follow. Tell me what happens next.
I'm trying to find a way to leave.
Mm.
Um, I tell her I want to go somewhere else, but she thinks that's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't It doesn't feel like I'm related to her, but she has a motherly way to her where she's being kind and offering her advice.
Mm-hmm.
But even though I'm not very young, I feel like I have this almost rebellious spirit that I've been following the rules for so long that I'm ready to just go.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Anything else significant about this scene that stands out to you?
Excuse me. No, I keep looking around the room. I admire the beauty that surrounds me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am used to such posh surroundings that I don't want to give them up, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm I just want something different. I just feel really bored.
Very good. So just allow yourself to close out this scene, just drifting away from this scene. And we're going to move forward again in this life of this girl who feels very bored. And let's find out the next important thing that happens to her on her journey. Be there now and tell me what you begin to notice around you.
Oh, doesn't look good. Um, it looks like someone's getting ready to be executed.
Oh, tell me more about that.
I just see uh, I I can't tell if I'm part of the people that are going to get executed
Mm.
or if I'm just close watching.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like several women are going to be executed.
And can you tell in what way they're going to be executed?
Yeah, it looks like a beheading.
Mm.
You could see the block of wood and the executioner standing nearby with the like cloak over his head, and he's
Mm.
holding a big, looks like an axe of some sort.
So just allow yourself to connect with these women, and you'll have a sense or a knowing of what they're being executed for. What comes through?
It seems like a variety of reasons. Um, Adultery, a couple of them are there for adultery, seems like. And then, uh, and then being prosecuted for their religious beliefs.
Mm. And so as you tune in to the scene, making it a little stronger and a little clearer, do you feel like you're observing what's happening, or do you feel like you are one who may be executed?
I feel closer to the people that are getting executed, so maybe that is going to happen to me.
Okay. So just allow yourself to tune in to what could have happened, what comes through for you, what might you have done to be in this situation.
I just hear the word adultery, so
Mm,
maybe I did something I should not have out of
okay.
boredom.
Very good. So just allow yourself to move forward to the last moment of your life, and you can simply just witness it. And as you focus in on the very last moment of your life in this scene, I want you to notice, where is your soul during all of this?
It, feels like it's out in the crowd
Mm.
somewhere.
And what does your soul have to say about this experience that you're having?
That I chose to have a very unique experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted my human existence to have difficulty in it because up until that point, I had not experienced a difficult life.
And was that the purpose of that life, or does anything else come through about the purpose of living this particular life?
It feels like the purpose has a duality, to experience great beauty. And it feels like I was surrounded by opulence and great beauty in my daily life. But then on the other side of it was, the the negative aspects of living in such a world, and how testing it is for the or was for the human spirit to have to conform to such rigid rules and, be persecuted for your, um, like your ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
It feels
Very.
like even though I wasn't a practicing Protestant, I still had um, the stigmata of being born into that faith.
Mm. So, as you focus in on the very last moment before you're executed, what are some of the thoughts that are going through your head?
I feel like I've just resigned myself, to my fate, that I'm pretty emotionally flat,
Mm-hmm.
which feels like that was a common theme in that life. Um, and that I just feel like, okay, this is it. There's nothing else I can do.
Very good. So just allow yourself to move through that final moment, taking your last breath in and allowing your soul to fully disconnect from your body. And as your soul is disconnected, I want you to see, how is that lifetime connected to the lifetime of Kim? Is there any connection between those two lives that she needs to know about?
There's a couple of connections. The first being the feeling of boredom. She finds herself often feeling that in this current life. And also connected to the aesthetics of that time period. It's
Mhm.
something that she's really drawn to.
Very good. And she was interested to know, that was one of her questions. She does feel very drawn to those different periods of time. This is one of the lives that she's lived, obviously. Is there any other important lifetimes that are similar to this one that you can mention to her?
Yes, she has been in similar prominent families. So she is familiar with that feeling of having obligations and having to conform to the rules set forth.
Mhm.
Um, and then there are some lifetimes where she has had experiences being within the artistic communities. So there are a few specific uh, cultures and time periods that she's drawn to, and that's because she's had a previous experience there.
Very good. begin to just ask some of the questions that we have for this session today. The first one that I wanted to ask about for her is about Tyler. In the last two sessions that we had, she was told to wait a period of 19 days to contact him. She was just wondering, is there a significance to the number 19 that you can share with her?
There is no significance. It was just a test to see if she could disconnect for a period of time. She has been thinking about him more lately, and this was just part of that test to see if she could handle things differently than she did in the past, but also without getting triggered by emotions.
Very good. And she was just wondering, and we've pulled in a lot of information about him. Where is he? Can you share with us where he is on his awakening path, on the ascension path?
He's just starting. He's just starting to take some baby steps. So he still has quite the journey ahead.
Okay. And his closest friend passed last year, and he's still having a difficult time with that loss. Would it be appropriate to send some healing energy just to help with that today?
Yes.
Okay. So just allowing Kim to connect her heart to Tyler's heart energetically and bringing in the light of source and flowing that from her heart into his and allowing that light to spread out through his body, just releasing any of that struggle, any of that sadness, any of the pain that he's holding, and just wrapping him in that beautiful source energy. And she's wondering, we talked in the last session that there are some people on the earth that have contracts to experience the pathogen in our current reality. And she was wondering if she could get any information on her sister, her nephew, niece, brother-in-law. Is there anything you can share with her today about the possibility of them having the pathogen in their experience?
We don't see the potentiality for any of them to have this experience. We will say, however, that her brother-in-law could potentially have some health effects from the medication he took.
Anything that she can do to help him with that?
We can send him some healing energy, but we are not permitted to interfere with a soul's contract and life experiences.
Okay.
It's a choice, and we have to respect the choice that these certain individuals have made.
Very good. Would it be appropriate for her to bring maybe some of the protocols or some of the more natural substances that can help him detox from this? Would that be appropriate, or should she just allow that to take place?
They would be helpful. That information needs to come through her sister. He will not receive it directly from Kim, but if it is received through her sister, he may be more inclined to listen if she expressed it was for the greater good of the family, for him to remain healthy and protect himself just in case. He has his set of beliefs, and Kim's sister feels she needs to respect those beliefs so she does not interfere.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
So, in our last session, we started off in inner earth and looking at the beings within the earth that are currently assisting Gaia through her rebirth. Can you explain a little bit about how inner earth was formed? Has it always been there? Or what can you share with us?
Yes, it has always been there as long as Earth has been in existence.
Have there always been beings that have lived inside the earth?
No.
Okay. So, can you tell us a little bit about how the beings that are there, how did they get there? Was that just something that happened over time, or?
As those beings elevated their consciousness, they had a deeper awareness of the inner realm, and through their spiritual evolution, they were able to ascend, in essence, to a higher dimension. The inner earth is of a higher dimension than the surface. And so they were able to, some of them were able to just shift dimensions from the surface to the inner earth.
Very good. And so, will it be possible for humans to travel to inner earth one day, like after the shift, after we're higher dimensional here?
It will be possible. It's not for everyone. It's if inner earth is a part of your earthly experience, then you will know, you will feel it, and over time you could have the ability to transition to that dimension just as those before you have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, in that last session, as we talked about the blue energy inside the earth and how that energy would be released in the shift, many people also believe that there will be some sort of a flash, or what we call the event, or some sort of energy that comes from the outside of the planet, maybe through the sun or the grand central sun, that will assist in the shift. Can you share some more information about what we're calling the flash or the event and how it's connected with what's happening inside the earth?
So what's happening inside the earth is separate from what many are referring to as the flash.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening in inner earth is very specific to the planet. It is, as we have mentioned before, that is the consciousness of the earth and the planet itself going through a reset that happens every so many years. If there is to be an external flash, as you call it, that would come directly from source.
Okay. So those two events, let's say, if they were to happen, they're separate of each other, not happening at the same time.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Every planet, you're welcome. Every planet has this ability to reset itself if it needs to. And that's what's happening on Earth right now. That's what the blue light in the very center of inner Earth is. That is what that is symbolic of, this physical reset of the planet.
So when you say she has reset herself in the past, um, is this, can you explain a little bit more about what the resetting actually does? How has that affected past planet resets?
So the planet has to reset itself every so many years because of its inhabitants. So the best way we can explain this is that just as the human body needs an energetic reset, so does the planet. And this is an energetic reset to essentially reset her system.
Okay. So I'm thinking in my mind, I know there's been times throughout history where life has been wiped out, like the Great Flood. That has no connection to that, or does it?
No connection.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so as we go through this transition into 5D, can you share a little bit more information about what we might experience? What will that experience be like?
In which way are you asking?
How will, so if we're moving, is it something that we're going to know that we're moving through? Is it going to be more subtle? Will we know we've shifted? Will there be something that tells us we've shifted into a new dimension?
In some ways, it will be subtle. In other ways, it will be more obvious. The spiritual aspects of it we feel will be more subtle for the majority of humanity. The physical aspects of your evolution will be much more obvious.
And so we feel anxious to get there, to move out of the experiences that we're currently in. What can we do to speed up this process, if anything?
We say continue doing what you're doing. There are many ways you can help speed this up. In the past, we have exercised caution in the things that you say and the information that you share, and we still feel there needs to be a certain amount of caution at this time. However, you will know when you are in a place to be more vocal and share more information. And that we feel is coming very soon for most of the key players, the light workers and the star seeds.
Hmm.
The more you come together and unify your voice as one, the more powerful your voice becomes. And that will usher in the light.
Very good. And from your perspective, do you see that more of the light workers and star seeds are beginning to come together?
Yes, we do see that happening. We see it happening in various areas throughout the world. There needs to be a more unified global effort.
Do you have any advice on a way that we could do that, or anything we need to know about that?
You must create virtual networks of like-minded individuals that are not in the mainstream. You have to remove yourself from any sort of mainstream technology, because the light is always a target in these areas. So for a while, you need to unify under the radar.
Are there any platforms that you could share with us that could possibly provide a way of bringing more light workers and star seeds together that's not part of those darker networks?
There are a couple that we see are lighter. There are two. We're afraid we shouldn't say the names because that could attract the darkness. So we say to you, once you pull away from the infiltrated networks and you experience alternative outlets, you will know.
Okay.
There's two. How can we say this? One starts with a T and one starts with a G.
Okay.
And those should be the two. We even feel like that was probably saying too much. We want to help, but we
Yes.
also feel that those of you who are light workers and star seeds and have the technology experience need to build your own platforms.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for the information that you could share with us.
You're welcome.
So we talked about also in our last sessions that things in this reality are going to continue to get worse before the ultimate shift happens. Is there anything that you can tell us about the ways in which things are going to get worse? Anything that we need to know?
What we can say is that in some areas, it will look like the dark agenda has been successful. Uh, in other areas, it's just not possible because there is a higher concentration of light workers in those areas, and they are raising the vibration too much that the darkness will try, but they will not be successful. So it may seem like they are winning at first, and they're going to try really hard to separate you and isolate you and make you feel like you need to conform to the pressure. But we say, stand strong. You are not alone. You have a network that surrounds your entire planet, and you will persevere.
Can you tell us a little bit? One of the places that I noticed that there's quite a few restrictions seems to be Australia. And I've heard that there's a lot of really high, good energy in that area. Is that why the darkness is sort of attacking that country? Or can you share anything with us about that?
Yes, that continent has very significant spiritual associations. It is a very high energy point on the planet, as well as the country of New Zealand, and greater, even as far as the greater Polynesian area on your map. And so the dark is trying to, in essence, siphon their energetic resources. So that is why they started there, so that they could steal their energy and steal their reserves, so to speak.
Through their fear.
Yes.
And from your perspective, is Australia full of light workers and star seeds that are also assisting with keeping the darkness at bay?
There are quite a few beings of light in that area. And the worse it gets, the more new souls will be activated.
Beautiful. So you mean people that will begin to go through their awakening process so that they can begin to raise their frequency?
Yes. And we must say that the beings you see, we are giving Kim a vision. These soldiers that look like robots are not human.
Are these people that she's seeing?
They are pretending to be people, but they are not.
Are they AI or are they another type of being?
They are both.
Okay.
Some AI technology and some are infiltrated souls.
So when you say soldiers, are they in place trying to enforce all of these mandates and all of these restrictions on the people?
Yes, because fear is what gives them power.
So for anyone that's listening to this session at a later date that is in one of these areas where the mandates and the restrictions are very heavy and it's affecting them, what is the best advice that you can give for how to stay strong and shine their light through this experience?
They may keep you physically apart from your loved ones and other like-minded individuals. This is why we strongly urge many of you to create virtual networks, because they cannot keep you away from each other in that capacity. You have to understand that you have a wide network around you to assist you. And we also say that those who know the law need to study it even more, because there are loopholes. And that is how you will be able to start to take down the forces in your area.
Very good. So can you tell us a little bit more about a star seed and what is it that makes a person a star seed? Is there a particular thing that incarnated human holds?
A star seed holds the ability to recognize and integrate other aspects of themselves in other dimensions, in previous lifetimes, and in other realities. So a star seed has the ability to integrate all of those aspects into their present incarnation. And that makes you more powerful in certain ways.
Hmm. And so, would you say that all of the humans incarnated on Earth, are there any souls that have only existed on Earth, or have all souls been on other planets, other universes, other galaxies, dimensions at some point?
There are a great number of souls who have only had earthly experiences. And usually those are the young souls who are still very young, who came to Earth specifically to help.
Okay. And so after the shift, will those souls be able to begin to incarnate in other places if it's their choice?
Yes, it's always a choice.
Okay. Is there anything that keeps those souls here, such as karma, or is there always a choice of where they want to be?
There's always a choice where they choose to incarnate. Different dimensions and different realities and different locations in the universe all have the ability to teach you different lessons. So, based on what you need to learn or experience, then from there you choose where you want to go in the universe.
And so there's been some information that I've come across about the 144,000. This was actually a question that we received off of Kim's last session. Can you tell us a little bit more about this number? Does this refer to the star seeds that are on Earth? Is it a frequency, or is there some other meaning behind the 144,000?
There is always a frequency and a universal, what's the word? We feel frequency is the best word we could use to describe.
Mhm.
It's everything in the universe is based on numbers and sacred geometry. So that number just has a resonance and an activating quality for those who resonate with that number.
Okay.
But we say there are many, many more than 144,000 star seeds and awakened souls on your planet.
Very good. Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the children that are being born at this time? Um, are they coming in with a higher vibration? Are they coming in with their DNA fully intact? And if so, can you tell us what that means for them?
Many of the young children that have come into this world recently and who will be coming into the world in the next couple of years, these are all very advanced souls who are volunteering to come in during such a difficult time on the planet. They feel they have the experience needed to be resilient and to awaken faster.
And so, in a previous session, we looked at a soul that was currently preparing to come in to its mother at some point. And the way that it sounded was it was almost a difficult, maybe not difficult, but it's challenging to bring such a high vibrational soul into a physical body. These higher souls, is it hard for them to incarnate into these physical bodies?
Most of the time it is difficult because when you are not in a physical form yet, you don't realize how dense Earth is. So when you are on our side, so to speak, it is only positive. You don't experience the more intense energies of your planet until you are in physicality, and that includes being in the womb at the very earliest stages.
Mhm.
So these souls are excited to come and to help. However, they get into the body and they realize how intense the energy is. And so some of them struggle with that choice. When a soul is in the uterus of a woman, they can easily move between the body and the other side. So some of them struggle and go back and forth between being in the womb and coming to the other side again, just to prepare themselves a little bit more for what's to come.
Is it like that? Well, not all planets have the same way of birthing babies as we do. I was wondering if it was that difficult to come into other incarnations, but they probably have a different process than we do. Is that correct?
That is correct. Each planet has their own way of bringing new souls into their environment. Some are similar to the earthly experience, and some are not.
Okay. And so she wanted to know a little bit more about miscarriages and if they happen when a baby soul needs to go back to the other side to prepare more. Her mom miscarried before she was born, and a medium told her that it was her soul. And she was just wondering, why did she need to go back, or what did she need to learn more about before she came into this life?
That is correct. It was her soul, and she chose to go back to the other side to make changes to her life plan and the experience that her mother needed to have was of the anticipation of expecting a child and having to suffer that loss. So it was part of her mother's life plan to experience losing a child. And for Kim, she chose to make changes to her life plan. It was then she chose to not have physical children in her incarnation.
And does this happen often when mothers miscarry a child? Is it sometimes is that the baby is just not ready to come into the world more so than it's something that happened to the physical baby in the womb? Or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. So sometimes the soul needs to come back and prepare more for their future incarnation, while others simply choose to have that brief experience and only experience what it is like to be in the womb.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So, in the last session, we talked about the volcano and the energy that was coming to the surface and all of the chaos and things that were going to be happening to possibly move us into the shift. And there were some who listened to that information and they became concerned that that was a literal reference. Can you explain to us just a little bit more about the volcano and the energy that's coming up, just to help everybody to understand that more?
That information did not come from us. That
Okay.
came from Kim's guides. But what we can say is that it is symbolic. It is not an actual volcano exploding. Her guides like to speak in metaphors. So it was just symbolic of a momentous occasion that will have strong effects after it happens.
Very good. Thank you for that. And may I ask who we're speaking with this time?
You are speaking to the Angelic Collective.
Oh, beautiful.
You're welcome.
What is your connection with Kim?
She has spent much time with us before choosing to incarnate.
Beautiful. So we know there are a lot of dark beings and a lot of darkness on this planet. Is it correct to say, though, that all beings, even the darkest beings, have divinity within them? Do all beings come from source? So even the darkest have that divinity within. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about what caused those darker beings to step so far off their path? Did something happen to them, or did they simply choose that path for themselves?
They chose that path for themselves to a certain degree. There has to be a balance. When Source created all that is, it realized that the light needed to be balanced with the dark. And at first, it was just meant to be a very small amount of darkness. However, that darkness multiplied and started to move away from the divine master plan. And they forgot that everyone and everything has a place in the universe. So the farther they got from understanding and respecting that plan, the more darkness they created.
And so, can these beings eventually polarize positive Will they polarize positive at some point? Will they come back to source?
It's a choice. They have to choose to come back.
Mm. So, as we look at the darkness that's been on this planet for so long, and we know that we've experienced wars and just really horrific things throughout time, can you help us to understand why was this allowed to happen? Some would look at it and say, why were we allowed to experience so much pain, so much suffering over time?
That is the universe's way of experiencing itself through every possible experience. There are infinite experiences to have, and having a dark experience is still an experience. So it's not that source doesn't want to help or interfere. It's that source has given every being the choice and the freedom to experience a variety of things as a soul. So from where we are, there's only experience. There is no positive or negative experience. We know that's different for those of you on Earth, but we see things very differently over here.
Mm. So, as we're talking about this rebirth or this resetting that is happening right now, why is it just at this time that we're going through this shift? Um, can you explain why it may not have been a possibility in the past? Is there a specific reason why we're just now coming to this point where it's possible for us to shift into the fifth dimension?
This shift has happened before.
Hmm.
So, as you have been told, these rebirths occur every so often. And so it is just time for your planet to have this experience yet again. It just seems different now because of where you are as a collective, a human collective at this time. But it is no different than rebirths of the past.
Okay, very good. And so, are other realms, dimensions, planets, are they currently experiencing chaos in the way that we are? Or is this just here on Earth?
It's different on Earth, although the chaos is felt throughout the universe. It feels different on Earth because of your lack of awareness of what's happening in the other dimensions and on other planets and in other realities. So those beings in all these other places understand what's happening throughout the universe. So it is not as traumatic for them.
Mm.
They accept what is. You don't have that level of awareness on your planet and in your reality. And that is what makes this so difficult for most on your planet.
Mhm. Are we the only planet that has that lack of awareness, or are there other places similar to us?
There are places similar to Earth. It's just not as difficult on those places as it is on Earth, because Earth has become a playground for a lot of the negative souls.
Mm.
So there is a higher concentration of negative souls on your planet at this time versus what is happening on other places similar to Earth.
Very good. And so, as we go through this ascension, um, as we ascend, are all places, all planets, all dimensions, is everyone ascending at the same time?
Yes. And if Source chooses to emit the what you call solar flash, then it will be a full reset through the entire universe, where every location, every dimension, every planet will have a rebirth, regardless of where they are in their evolution.
And is that beneficial for all planets to all have that rebirth or reset?
Yes. The rebirth process is similar to what happens on Earth every spring.
Mm.
Just when you've had about enough of the landscape being barren,
Mm-hmm.
the flowers start to bloom again.
Beautiful. So, in Kim's last session, we connected directly with Source, which was so beautiful. And she wanted to know, in sessions that she's facilitated, she's witnessed clients connecting with Source, and it's been a very emotional and loving experience for them. But as she connected with Source, she felt the pure power that was coming through her body, and it just made her tremble. Why was she feeling that power instead of the divine love that she's witnessed before?
She experienced the feeling of power so that she would understand the magnitude of what Source is capable of.
Mm.
All
Mm-hmm.
souls can imagine what divine love feels like, even if you don't connect with Source in the way she would have hoped.
Mm.
It was important for her to feel that sheer power so she could understand fully the magnitude of what will happen and what could happen should Source decide to, as we will use your words, use a solar flash.
Mm.
We don't know how else to put that into words, so we will just use your words.
Mm. Very good. And as we're talking about that energy that's coming in, can you tell us a little bit more if Source decides to send that energy in, that flash, that however we want to look at it, how will that affect the human? What is it meant to do?
If that does happen, no matter who you are or where you are, at first you will feel the divine love like you've never felt before, and then your body will be flooded with the power of Source. And in that moment, in unison, all of humanity will essence have received the reset. And that is when you will know, because it will happen to every single living being on your planet.
Beautiful.
Source will never exclude anyone or anything from that experience.
Very good. You've got my vote for sending that energy into the planet. Anytime he's ready, she's ready, it's ready, we're ready.
We're
So,
all ready.
yes, I know. So, can you tell us a little bit about in the future, maybe after the shift, how will relationships between couples transform? My understanding is there will be a stronger energetic connection between couples, possibly even more powerful than the physical connection that we have now. What can you share with us about that?
Relationships between humans will be better than you could ever possibly imagine. It will be a divine connection. So, yes, you will, in certain ways, pull away from the more physical expressions of love and affection,
Mm-hmm.
because you will feel it instantly. Just being in that soul's presence. So it will be a deeper energetic connection. Some feel this connection in their relationships already, and most feel it during a physical expression of love. And we say, yes, you will still experience these beautiful moments, but you will feel that all the time. It
Mm.
won't just be in those short moments.
Mm-hmm. Mm, beautiful. Can you take a look at her third eye um, and see if there's anything that could be blocking it? She wanted to see if she could have more of a visual during these sessions. She feels like she doesn't see things as well as she'd like to. Is there anything blocking that third eye that needs to be released today?
Yes, there is.
Okay. What is that there?
It looks like a lens cover that you would put on a camera.
Who put that there?
Some pesky entities that like to interfere with souls who have a strong third eye, clairvoyant ability, as well as medium abilities.
Mm. So are these pesky entities, did this happen recently or has this lens cover been on her third eye for quite a while?
It has been there for 2 years.
Okay.
So while she can see, it's not as clear as it could be or as clear as it used to be.
Okay. Would you be able to remove that cover for her today?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. And as you remove that cover and leave that spot open, may we bring in the light of source to begin to fill up that space, making sure that it is sealed off so that nothing else can be placed in that area.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And are there any other healings or upgrades that she needs today so that she can continue doing the work that she's doing?
Yes.
Okay. Tell her what she'll receive during the session.
We are scanning her body, looking for any abnormalities that need to be aligned.
Mm,
And we will be upgrading all of her chakras.
beautiful. Thank you. I know she will greatly appreciate that.
There's more that we need to do for her.
Mm-hmm. What else needs to happen?
She needs to receive more of the white light of source into her body.
Can we bring that in for her today?
Yes, it is. We're guiding it through the crown chakra. And as it moves down through her body, we're sending it to all the cells in her body
Mm,
and out into her etheric body. And we are strengthening her galactic cord.
what is the galactic cord?
It is the equivalent to an umbilical cord. So all souls have a thin silver cord that connects us to Source directly.
Mm. And so as that galactic cord is strengthened, what will she experience?
Right now, she's feeling greater peace, calmness. And once this energy integrates into her body, we suggest that she meditate longer every day, very early in the morning while it is still dark outside, so that she can connect with Source directly while the earth is quiet.
Mm. Very good. And anything else that she needs to know about the work that you're doing on her today?
It will she will gradually feel this shift in her body and her mind over the next 3 weeks. It is very important that she meditate every day, every morning, so that when she's in meditation, we can continue to upgrade her physical and etheric body.
Is it possible to do that work while she sleeps, or is it better to do it when she's in a meditative state, awakened meditative state?
It is better for her in the meditative state because while she's sleeping, her soul is not in the body.
Oh,
She travels and has other experiences while she's sleeping.
can you tell her a little bit about those experiences? What is she doing?
She goes to other parallel lives, and she may recall these in some of her dreams. And she goes and visits loved ones in her sleep.
Very good. Go ahead.
She also meets with her guides for any additional assistance she may need. So all of this takes place while she's sleeping.
Very busy.
Very busy. That's why her physical body is quite tired.
I feel that too in the morning, and I think I must have been busy last night because I didn't get enough sleep.
Yes, you are busy in your sleep as well.
Yes. Okay. So, in the last session, Kim and I learned that our grandfathers met and brought us together in guide school. And we were wondering, can you share with us a little bit about what is guide school like for guides? What do they go there to learn?
They go to learn a variety of things, specifically how to communicate with a living being.
Hmm.
There's a variety of ways your guides communicate with you, whether it be in a dream, in a little voice you hear inside your head, or a feeling, or a recognition, or a sign. There's many ways guides learn. to communicate. So that is the most important thing they learn in school. They also have to learn to detach from their own previous human experiences to a certain degree. And that was important for both of your grandfathers to learn because they have so much love for their granddaughters.
Mm.
And that was difficult for them to step out of the grandfather role and into the guide role. And so that is how they formed their friendship, because they supported each other during this lesson and this experience they had when they chose to become guides.
So beautiful. Are there any messages that either one of our grandfathers would like to bring forward today?
They are both here, and they both say that they're so happy you two finally heard them talking to you and guiding you to each other. They have long known that Kim and Heather are members of the same soul family.
Mm.
And because of their life experiences and various locations, this was the only way they could come back into each other's lives.
Mm. She mentioned before our session, we were talking, and she said she felt drawn to Tennessee at one point, and then she met me, and here I am. What was her connection to Tennessee? Was that the grandfathers sort of directing her this way?
Yes, yes, because had you not met in the way that you're working together now, you would have met in the physical.
Hmm. Well, I would have taken either one.
So would she.
Very good. So I had a question about I can't imagine being a guide and um, trying to navigate a human, that we're doing all the things that we're doing. Do our guides get frustrated with us? Do they feel frustration as we do? What's that like?
It's it's not frustrating the way humans feel frustration. It's always a loving uh eye roll. Like, oh, they they didn't hear that, or they're not paying attention, or oh, we knew they were gonna do that, but we love them anyway. So it's always with much love and enthusiasm, because they always respect your free will choices. But for Kim and Heather and anyone who has a relative who is now one of their guides, it's a little bit different, and that is what their grandfathers needed to learn
Mm,
in guide school, was that separation of the human emotion,
mm.
and take off the grandfather hat and put on the guide hat.
Hmm. And so, will they just continue to be guides, or at some point, do they get to choose if they decide they want to step away and do something different?
Whenever they choose to have a different experience, they can have a different experience.
Mm,
Kim's grandfather volunteered to be a guide. Um, Not only one of her specific spirit guides, but he also helps the family transition when they pass.
Mm.
So he's the one that takes them on the journey from physical life to their spiritual life. So he volunteered to be that person for their family.
Very good. And so we both notice that there's occasions where we smell the cigarette smoke, and we both had grandfathers that smoked. So is that our way of knowing when they're around us?
Yes. And there are other things you will hear. We say going forward for the both of you, you may hear a laugh that sounds very similar to theirs.
Mm.
And that will also be a recognition of them being being near you.
So beautiful. We just send them so much love and so much gratitude for bringing us together. And just know that we love you as much as we receive your love.
They love you so much.
Mm.
Kim can feel it right now, and it's a beautiful feeling.
Mm.
It's even stronger than you felt when they were physically here for you.
Mm. So beautiful. Thank you so much for those beautiful messages. We're so
You're welcome.
grateful.
Heather, your grandfather has a message for you.
Yes.
Do you see animals in your yard of some sort? And he wants you to know he's sending the animals to you.
Are we talking about the birds?
Yes.
Yes, I
Do you
always
see?
think of, well, I always think of my grandfather when I see birds because he used to love to watch birds.
Okay, so yes, birds, and then
There's also
there.
bugs. Like, I just have a weird thing with bugs lately. I feel so drawn to them, but
Any animals that you find in your home space are animals he is sending to you.
okay. So you mean, are we talking about spiders and bugs, or does he give
No,
me a
uh,
specific?
mostly birds, chemicing squirrels.
Oh,
So
beautiful. So
if
all
you have
outdoor
all,
animals.
yes,
Oh.
yes. So if you are sitting there enjoying a pretty morning or evening and you see the wildlife frolicking in your yard, in your
Mm.
area, just know that is him being there with you.
Mm.
He loved nature and
Mm-hmm.
observing nature, and he wants to share that moment with you.
Oh, I already knew that. So thank you so much for that validation, and that will
You're
make it even more special.
you're welcome.
Mm. Beautiful. Okay. So we talked a little bit in the last session about finances and how finances after we move through this shift are going to change and possibly not even exist in the way that we understand it today. Will this happen, this transition, will it happen instantly, or is this going to be more of a gradual shift for us?
It's going to be a gradual shift because your world is so used to functioning uh, in a specific way that that change is going to be hard for a lot of people to accept that nothing should have a price tag attached to it.
Hmm. And so,
Everything
oh, go ahead.
everything should be available to everyone. Currency is unnecessary.
So when we think about how we use money, we use money to purchase things like food and clothes and things that we need. If there is no need for money, will we continue to make maybe not all of the things that we have, all of the material things, because we probably don't need them, but will people still desire to make the things that we need to have in order to live? Or how will that shift?
The biggest shift you will have is that humans will go back to being more self-sufficient.
Mm,
So in your modern world, you have gotten used to someone else providing for you. In the future, after the rebirth, you will go back uh, to the beginning. In essence, you will, in this way, it will look like your earth is regressing, but it is not. It's for the higher good.
mm,
You will relearn the skills of self-sufficiency. You won't need to go into a grocery store because you will grow your own food. Uh, some in their own on their own, and some as a community, and you will participate and contribute to your community for the benefit of all. So if you are good at making clothes, you will make clothes. If someone is good at growing food and harvesting food, you will do that. If someone is good at fixing things or building things, they will do that. And everyone will have what they need.
very good. And so there's many people that talk about things like a quantum financial system and also the Nasera and the Gesera acts. Can you tell us if these systems will be a part of our reality at some point, or what do we need to know about those?
There are both positive and negative aspects of those systems.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't happen the way most anticipate it will. It will be a slow change. You will have currency for a certain amount of time after your shift. Once everything begins to settle and most of the trauma has been healed, and uh, the dust settles, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
you will then start to implement this new way of life where you don't need currency. And part of the transition is greater humanity realizing that these systems that have been put into place have not been for your well-being and benefit, and they were put into place by the negative entities and energies that have been ruling your planet.
Mm. So, do you see as we sort of make this transition and before we get to the place where we no longer need currency, do you see our currency transitioning through a period of being digital or like the cryptocurrencies? Or do you see it remaining as it is?
We see both existing at the same time, uh, and there being benefits and also drawbacks to using both methods of exchange. We say, do what you feel most drawn to. If you feel you want to use traditional currency, then use traditional currency. We suggest you be mindful that with traditional currency, there could be risks during the in between phase. So before the shift happens, we also say that the same thing applies to any digital currency, because currency has such negative associations. It's difficult to try and pick the lesser of two evils.
Mm.
But we understand you feel you need to provide for yourself and protect yourselves. So our best advice to you is to learn how to be more self-sufficient and provide for yourself now. Learn those skills now.
Very good. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So there's, those of us who are aware of the rebirth and moving through all the things that we're going through, we're always seeking just information and wanting to learn more and understand more. And a lot of information seems to come through, whether it's a channeler or a medium or one of these quantum healing sessions. They bring in a variety of information, and oftentimes that information is very different and varied. Is it possible that there are many different experiences that we may have, and that's why the information comes through each person so different? Or can you explain that to us?
So we say that there are infinite possibilities. So when information you receive in sessions like these or other methods from psychics and channelers and intuitives, it all has to come through a physical body, a physical human who has a human experience.
Mm.
And it can be difficult for some to convey the messages they are receiving from us. Sometimes they have difficulty selecting the correct words to express the vibration we are sharing with them.
Mm-hmm.
While there are infinite possibilities and a variety of potential experiences, each person taps into one potential outcome or
Mm.
one potential reality. So depending upon their frequency, their beliefs, where they are on their consciousness evolution, that is where they will receive the information from the higher realms.
Okay. So let's say you had 3 people all receiving the exact same message from a higher dimensional being, but they're at different levels of consciousness and maybe have different belief systems and different programming. They will receive that message and deliver it in very different ways, possibly. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So that makes it really challenging when we're trying to figure out. And I guess there really is no one way that this could play out. It's our linear way of looking at things that makes us want to give it a start and a finish and a date and all of those things. So how do we use our discernment, or is it our discernment that helps us to understand more about what the right information we should be tuning into is?
Yes, it's more than using your discernment. Most humans need to, we don't want to, we don't want to cause alarm, but you need to ask for protection.
Hmm.
Every day, all day, there are plenty of pesky, we like to call them pesky entities that like to interfere, and they like to distort experiences and realities. So unless you are invoking protection, you have the potential to receive distorted information.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what else can we say about this? We know this is triggering for many, to hear different versions of a potential outcome, and we say to you, there, you live in an infinite universe, and there are infinite possibilities. We say, when seeking information, it is always best to surround yourself with the white light of Source and call in your guides, your angels, and any other high beings of light you would like to surround you. And after you feel that light surrounding you, then seek out the information, and you will be guided to the information that is not distorted and of the light.
Mm-hmm. Very good. That will be very helpful for people to hear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So one of the distortions maybe is that there are people who bring forward information saying that as we ascend, there are only some people that will ascend and some will not make it. I feel like in the sessions with Kim and in other sessions that I have had, everyone will ascend. From your perspective, can you shed a little light on that for us?
That is what we see. We see everyone evolving. We see everyone ascending.
Mhm.
As we said earlier, Source will not exclude any soul. So when this process on your planet happens, it will happen to everyone. we ask that you remember that it is the separation, it is the judgment, it is the fear that is causing the divide on your planet.
Mm.
And that is what needs to change.
Mhm.
So you can't, you cannot raise to your potentiality until you are all unified.
Mm.
So that is what's taking so long, is because the dark forces at play are very manipulative, and they have infiltrated every aspect of your reality.
Mm.
And that is why you see separation on all levels of your existence on your planet.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we'll call it the injection that people are receiving for the, what are we calling it? Looking at my notes here. For the pathogen. We'll just use those words. And we're seeing, and we know that everything is from a soul's perspective and a soul's choice. But we see some that are experiencing very difficult experiences after taking the injection, and some that it's not affecting at all. Is there a possibility of aligning with a placebo, and then there's a darker version of that injection? Or can you share any information about that with us?
So it's both situations. So yes, there is a placebo effect happening.
Mm-hmm.
Not every soul who took the medication received the actual medication.
Mm.
And then you also have the contracted experience.
Mm.
So it's both. So if it's in your contract to have that experience, then you will have that experience. Um, there's this is another difficult topic that people have a hard time accepting,
Mm-hmm.
that you as a soul would choose to have such a difficult experience. And we say to those who struggle with this, remember, you are a soul having a human experience, and the soul is much greater and bigger than the body. So detach from the physical experience of what a particular body may or may not suffer. It's just something you chose to experience while you were here on Earth.
As we shift into the fifth dimension, will these experiences be better experiences?
Yes, as you move into higher levels of consciousness and higher dimensional realities,
Mm-hmm.
you will no longer seek out the dense, difficult third dimension experiences. So you will rise above from that. And given that Earth has had a very long history in a third dimensional density, most of the souls that have reincarnated here for many lifetimes have experienced a wide variety of emotions and trying experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So we say you've accomplished a great deal, and you will not need to have these experiences going forth.
That's very nice to hear. So, do you see from your perspective, we feel like a lot of truths are hopefully eventually going to be coming out. I know those of us, there are some of us that are able to sort of see all of the things in the reality, the darkness. Do you see the truth of the pathogen and the medication coming to light in a way that all know the truth of what's happened with that?
Yes, there's no way around hiding the dark agenda. Once all has been revealed, it's depending upon your belief system, you will either be happy with this information when it's shared, you will be surprised, or you will be in denial. And
Mm,
that's just part of your experience. Again, we know this is a difficult information that people don't want to hear, but that's just the way events will unfold.
mhm. And so, in the last session, in the last two sessions, we've talked about our former president. We'll just call him Mr. T.
Mm.
And we know that he has a big role here on this planet and he still has work to do. And would you say, and we may have covered this before, but we'll cover it again because I know it's an interesting topic for many people, but would you say that he will have a role in bringing forward some of these truths?
Yes, that is what he came here to do.
Okay. What is his role in the future? Can you share with us anything about a possible role for him in the future?
He will be a universal peacemaker.
Hmm.
He part of his role is not only to reveal the darkness, reveal and expose the darkness, but um, the the effects of that information coming out, and we know a little bit of it is revealed here and there.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out and it becomes mainstream knowledge, then that's when things are going to look a little rough for you on your planet. And this is what we mean by things are going to get worse before they get better, because there's a lot of people who are in denial and they're going to have a hard time accepting figures, people and figures they were um, looking towards to be um, influential or a good person. And when they hear this information, it's going to be difficult. So the effects of that are going to be, you know, we hate to say world chaos.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds so much, well, it's going to be bad, but it's not as bad as some may think. It's not like you're going to have another physical war.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to, say that that's not a possibility. Source would never let that happen again.
Mm.
But um, the how do we say this? The repercussions are going to be chaotic, and he will be the person who brings peace.
Mm. So, at this time, do you see him being surrounded by a team of star seeds and light workers, or does he also have darkness around him, other influences trying to throw him off his path?
We're scanning the those closest to him are of the light and are star seeds. Um, there have been, in his previous prominent role, there were those in his office who were not of the light and were manipulating circumstances
Mm.
to interfere. But that is when new star seeds came in. And if you look back, you will see the changes that occurred in those around him. And these changes were removing the dark and replacing them with the light.
Mm.
So Kim's seeing some visions of some of these figures, which she can share with Heather later. We won't say who those names are. She's also seeing uh, a couple of prominent figures that support him, and they are also his soul family. So those two specific men are of the light. These three men have had previous experiences together, and that is why they chose to do this again.
In other lifetimes.
Yes.
Okay. Does he have any idea from his human perspective, where is his consciousness as far as being awake? Is he understanding of what he is, of what he's here to do, or is he just doing it? Is the soul controlling
He
that?
knows who he is at this point. He has to keep up the facade.
Mm.
So
Would you say he's
saying
awake, like we're awake?
More so.
Not a great term, but
yes, more so, even more
okay.
so.
Okay.
Kim is seeing a really funny vision of him. And it's just showing his personality at the soul level. So while he's in a very prominent position, a very serious position, and he's taken on a very serious role as a soul, he's very playful. He's very loving. And all this soul wants to do is just help because he loves everybody.
Oh,
and you can
goodness.
even hear that when he speaks. You can hear it in the tone of his voice, but you can also hear it in some of the words that slide out unintentionally. You can tell how much love he has for humanity.
I have absolutely felt that. And when he was first, when the election first started, I'll say I wasn't a fan, but as I've gone through my awakening journey and began to understand who he is, there is a resonance that you feel when he speaks. And if you really watch him, not what the media shows, but if you really watch him in some of the private videos, you can feel the love that he has for other humans.
He does. He's very loving. Very, very loving.
That's really good to know. I know there will be a lot that will help tremendously because so much negativity has been spewed around him.
It's all an illusion. People have to understand. We understand the great divide when it comes to this specific person. And while he is a human having a human experience at this point on his journey, he knows who he is now. And he has to, as we just said, he has to keep up the facade. So as we keep saying, you can't we can't judge another soul based on their experience and
Yes.
their choices.
Mm-hmm.
So we say, again, remember what sources messages are, and that is unity and love
Mm-hmm.
without prejudice and without fear.
He's had lessons to learn in this life, just like the rest of us have, hasn't he?
Yes, he most certainly has.
Yeah, and those lessons help us to grow and become a better person, so they must be experienced.
Yes,
Very good. Thank you for that information.
you're welcome.
She wanted to know about, she's noticing at her job that they're starting to profile people as being, having the injection or having the medication and being unmedicated. We'll call it that. And she feels like she's been retaliated a little bit for voicing her concerns over that discrimination. She's just curious to know, will she lose her job over this, or will she be able to leave that experience when she's ready?
She will be able to leave that experience when she's ready. We see that after voicing her concerns and her opinion, she got fearful, so she pulled back and is going back to her quiet persona
Mm.
before, and it's her choice to do that. We think at this stage that's probably the best thing for her. Um, we don't want her attracting any darkness to her at this time.
Mm. Very good. And she wanted to see if she could just get a little bit of guidance about a career change. She said she feels like she needs to make some changes pretty quickly, but she has concern about finances. What does she need to know?
She has to make the decision whether she wants to, how do we say this? Whether she wants to pursue a career uh, that has a higher vibration and a higher state of consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
or to continue uh, doing what she has been doing in terms of her career path, we'll say her three-dimensional career path.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the three-dimensional career path is a negative one. She could easily support herself in either area that she chooses to focus on.
Mm-hmm. Any idea about a higher career path that she could look into?
For her, it would be to continue on the education that and the trainings that she's already started. If she
Mm-hmm.
wants to do more and take that path, we just tell her that if she chooses this path, she is going to have to um, uh, she's going to have to be more visible, and that's difficult for her. We know this is something she's struggled with for a long time. So when she's ready, that is always an option for her. There are additional things she can do as an adjunct to the trainings that she's already completed, and that would all be beneficial for her to help share information um, and to be there for others.
Okay, but she'll be guided to where she needs to go for that.
Yes, she's torn. She's currently torn, and we tell her to give it some time. Remember that over the next few weeks, she's going to be getting these this direct source energy coming through her in meditation. So
Mhm.
that will have a great effect on the choices that she makes going forward. So we tell her to wait to make any changes until those energy upgrades have taken place.
Very good. Okay, so I think I just have one final question. And we just wanted to check in. She was wondering if any of her dogs, Brutus, Brownie, Tyson, and Molly, if any of her pets have reincarnated or are they still in the spirit realm?
They are all still in the spirit realm, waiting for her. Um, they don't want to move on just yet.
Very nice. Are they waiting to possibly move on into another incarnation when she's ready with her?
Yes, they will be, if she chooses to have another human experience, since she chose to not have children in this incarnation,
Mhm.
they are waiting to see if they will be her children in a future incarnation.
Oh, how nice. So does that mean she may possibly have 4 children?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Of course, she
She
won't remember that then, but
Well, she was supposed to have 5 in this life and then
oh,
chose not to. So
wow.
she's already had 3 of those souls come to her. So there's still 2 left that have to make their appearance in her
Oh,
life.
that's incredible. So the souls, if they can't make it in as a baby, they'll come into our life as a pet.
That was her choice.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that could be for others as well. You would just have
Yeah.
to, acquire that information through your Akashic records.
Very good. Do they have any messages for her today?
Oh, they they know that she has always said that when she passes
Mm.
and she leaves this world, she wants all of her animals to greet her. So she wants them all to be babies and just pounce her when she comes over. So she wants to have that experience, and
Oh,
they're waiting for her
oh,
for
how
that.
beautiful. What do they do with their time while they're on the other side? Now, we understand that time is different for them. Does it seem quick to them when she will get there, or what's that like?
It is quick for them. The only time anyone on the other side has any recognition of time or feels the effects of time is when we check in with a human on their journey. So her loved ones, her Kim's family, her that have crossed over, her pets, whenever she has those moments of awareness of them, experience connecting with them, that's the only time they really recognize that time has gone on, because they
Mm,
see where she is in terms of her age and on her aging timeline.
okay. And do they have a particular, what do they do? What would a soul like that do with their time?
So they uh, when a soul transitions from a human experience to the other side, they it's there's a transitional period. So during that transitional period is when like Kim wants to spend time with her beloved pets,
Mhm.
she will have that experience to help her soul transition from being in having a human experience to being, in spirit again.
Mhm.
And that is what souls do while they're waiting for other important souls in their soul group that they know they need to have future incarnations with. They basically just get to spend time together
Mm.
and enjoying, the bliss of being in a higher dimension. So it's very loving. It's very enjoyable. And you get to spend this time together. Some, leave that, they go to, which the best word to use would be school. They go to
Mhm.
school, they learn different things. Maybe they start planning for their next incarnation. Some people need healing. So a variety of things happen. But, they get to spend a lot of time together.
Mm. And will her pets appear to her as pets, or will they look different?
They will appear to her as pets because that's what she wants to see.
Mhm. Will it be, I'm trying to understand, will it be physical? Would she be able to touch them, pet them like we do here on Earth? Or is it
In
a
a
different
way,
experience?
in a way, yes, but it's a different experience.
Okay.
So she has only one of her pets did she have as a baby. So she wants to see them all as babies
Mm.
when she transitions. So they're waiting.
Oh, how
They're waiting for
sweet.
her. Yeah. And yes, Brutus is the ringleader. He's the one in control right now. He's the pack leader.
Oh, beautiful. Anything else they want to share with her today?
So they just they're so lovely, and she found that really funny. Um, they are such loving souls,
Yeah.
and they're grateful for the experience that they had,
Mm.
as animals on Earth.
So beautiful. I know she's loving that connection with them, and thank you.
You're welcome.
So, one final question, and I just wanted to ask about one of my pets while we were in here and could get a higher perspective. I have a sweet Holland Lop who is experiencing some severe eye issues, and I'm just wondering, can any information about that be shared with me? What do I need to know? How can I help her to heal?
It is a genetic condition.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we also suggest you do hands-on healing for her.
Okay, I've been doing that.
We will send her some healing right now.
Oh, thank you so much.
Don't be alarmed if you see greenish or yellowish pus coming out of her eye.
Mm-hmm.
It is part of the healing process.
Okay.
There will be a female doctor that can help her with this condition.
Is this the one that I have an appointment with in a couple weeks?
She feels new,
Yes.
and uh, she feels it feels like she is
Specialist?
specialized
Yes.
in this
Ophthalmology.
particular, yes, this eye
Okay.
condition. We say that she may have this throughout her life where it goes into remission and
Mm-hmm.
comes back,
Okay.
but there will be medication that can help.
Okay. Is she in any kind of pain?
It's a little sore
Okay.
and slightly itchy.
Mm-hmm.
So a cool, um, compress on her eye would be helpful as well.
Okay. And the drops, those are just to continue the
Yes.
drops. Okay.
Yes.
And so this is not something that can be fully healed, or can it be fully healed through energy healing work?
We are going to send her some more healing.
Okay. I'm so grateful.
You're welcome. Feels like there's an attachment on that side of the head.
Mm-hmm. What is that attachment?
She's holding injury from a previous incarnation. So it seems like she was an animal before, not a domestic animal, a wild animal,
Mm-hmm.
and had an injury on that side of the body.
Well, I asked her if it was a past life experience and she didn't answer me. So may we heal that for her today?
Yes,
Can we release her from that? Sweet baby.
it looks like she was a fox.
Oh.
It's a fox. Okay. There's still a little trauma there. She's fearful.
Mm-hmm.
Just bringing in some healing energy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We feel this doctor can help her. We will continue to send her healing, and we suggest you continue to work on her as well. But she has a beautiful aura.
Mm,
It's green.
beautiful. And her bond, I have a bonded pair. So her sister, they're very close. Do they have a contract to come into this life to be together?
No, they just love each other.
Okay.
They just love each other.
They do.
It's a very loving connection. They'll have future incarnations together in human form. When
Oh.
they're ready to be human, they will have a human experience, and they will most likely be twins in the
Oh, so
human life.
beautiful. I could see it. They are just attached at the hip sometimes. They're
Mm,
adorable.
they like that feeling. So we
Mm-hmm.
see two twin girls in the future.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much for that
You're
information.
welcome.
And thank you
You're
for the
welcome.
healing. I'm so grateful.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, this session again has been absolutely amazing with the information. Now, I know we were talking with the angelic beings. Who else have we been speaking with during this session?
We have been speaking with both of your guides and Kim's guides today.
Okay, very good. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much for that.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else that you would like to bring through today? Any final messages before I bring Kim back?
The last message we have for humanity is a message of unity. We ask that you focus on unity and accepting everyone's thoughts, feelings, experiences, beliefs. Just accept them without judgment. And we cannot stress this enough, that there needs to be unity on your planet.
Mm.
And it starts within and works
Mhm.
its way out. So the more unified you are as an individual with yourself, with source, with your loved ones, with your extended friends, it just radiates outward from you into your world, into your experience. And the more you radiate that out from the individual to the family, to the community, to the planet, that's where you need to be going. Ignore the messages of fear and separation and control and manipulation. Ignore it and just focus on love.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for those words. They're much needed at this time. Okay, if we're complete, I'm going to begin to bring Kim back. But before, I just want to say, send so much gratitude to the angels that were with us today, to my guides, to Kim's guides, to the grandfathers who brought through some sweet messages, and to all the beings that were here on this session. We're so grateful for each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to begin to bring your light body back to your physical body now.